We've had some more developments on the China cyber attacks. Quite intriguing, the timing of this one in New Zealand, just a week after the Foreign Minister was in town, both there and here.
Yeah, so it's a fascinating story, this, Kieran. It seems that there was a cyber intrusion a couple of years ago, which the New Zealanders have only just now attributed to China. Now, it takes quite a long time to get to a point where you're confident in your attribution, and you've got to check it with your allies and so forth. Now, I think they knew about it when Wang Yi was in New Zealand but chose not to raise it with him. That's a sign of weakness. But on the other hand, the fact that they're speaking out at all and naming China publicly, that's a sign of growing strength in New Zealand and a little bit of strategic reorientation. They're coming back to reality after the long bad dream of Jacinda Ardern. But also it points up this contradiction. So Wang Yi visits New Zealand and Australia, and everybody falls over themselves saying how fabulous the bilateral relationship is now. And Paul Keating says we must never, ever be irreverent about China ever again. And meanwhile, all the time, they are Chinese state actors hacking Parliament, government, confidential databases, security agencies, all the rest. You can be confident that this was a very egregious episode for New Zealand actually to call China out publicly about it. So that's quite a strong development, and it shows that the underlying strategic realities of China's behaviour don't change, whether it's being sweet or sour, on the diplomatic front.
And what about Australia's general response? Do you think we're finding some sort of equilibrium in the relationship, even though you got that defence spend increasing, but the diplomatic rapprochement continues? Apparently the tariffs on wine due to be lifted in the next couple of days before Easter.
No, Kieran, so I interpret it a bit differently from the consensus. I think the Albanese government is drifting dangerously on China. They're doing a whole lot of things that the Chinese want them to do. They've booted off the ASIO and ASIS heads off the National Security Committee of Cabinet while they have the climate change head there, which is just a bizarre and ridiculous. They seem to be getting ready to kill, if not completely cripple forever, the Australian Strategic Policy Institute. That was one of China's demands. So the government has stopped appointing new board members to ASPI. They've taken its funding from a 4-year to a 2-year or even 1-year basis. And now they're having an inquiry about why the government should spend money subsidising strategic think tanks. So these are two significant gestures that China wanted. The fact that China wanted these things to happen ought to be enough to make Albanese not do them. And the other thing is they're still not doing anything on defence. The alleged increase is utterly marginal, and we haven't seen it yet until the next budget. Richard Marles on Insiders at the weekend gave a wonderful sentence that sums up everything the government is doing. It says, here are the facts. We have increased defence spending over the next 10 years. The problem is we have increased as the past tense, over the next 10 years is the future tense. In the 3 years of the Albanese government, we've seen nothing on defence, and although Albanese inherited AUKUS and has stuck with it, that's about all he's done. He hasn't done a single other thing. And now, except for Penny Wong's press conference, which she was rightly praised for, the government won't ever say boo to a goose about China, won't mention China. So the British Defence and Foreign Secretary say we need AUKUS because of China. Richard Marles and Penny Wong won't say that. I think we're starting to get into the cringe and kowtow territory. And not absolute, but we're moving in that direction. And China would be very, very happy with the way the Albanese government is going the last few weeks.